Hello everyone and welcome. It's been another 2 weeks, unfortunately, I think, since I last posted a painting video, but it has been a difficult time to say the least, because my back started acting up again, and so I was rather unable to do almost anything rather than lie in bed. But that being said, the video was already made and edited. I just couldn't get around to actually do the voiceovers for it. So yes, today I will be putting the finishing touches on the Von Ryan's Leapers and finally posting this about 2 weeks after I wanted to actually. Sorry about that. So yeah, first up on the agenda is handling a few of the details that cover the bases, like the bits of debris and all their supports, like concrete things and slabs and so on and so forth, and a little bit of Tyrannid organic matter that are just, lying around and stuff. But that's easily solved with a bit of Mechanicus gray and, of course, the usual Tyrannid color scheme of etheric blue for the really deep organic fleshy parts, with a Megas purple for the more hard-ish skin tones, and finally a Dark Angel's green for the real chitinous parts, and of course a bit of lead belcher for the metallic or iron beams that are sticking from the ground and stuff, followed by, of course, a wash of null oil. So yeah, that's how most of the parts are covered from the tiny debris. And with that, we can get on to painting all of the chitin on each of the models. And for that, of course, I use Dark Angel's green, and this basically makes the model 90% complete, with just a few tiny details here and there to be done. Of course, I actually cut on the editing floor all of the tiny little extra times I had to fix the paint job where it chipped while painting. I know I should be using handles for each of these, but I found that they are rather difficult and I don't have that many handles. Right now I have one from Citadel and one from a recently purchased one from Timu, which is a 3D printed one, and it also has a hand support. I'm gonna try it going forward, but it's a bit more difficult to use these when you're dealing with multiple models, because you would have to have a painting handle for each of them. So that is why I prefer to use the supports that I have, as well as, where possible, you just hold them in my hand by the base. Yeah, and of course there are a few tiny more details that will follow down the line, and I will talk about it when there's time. I don't need myself to hurry right now. I still have about 10 more minutes of talking in this video. So yeah, what's going to happen going forward with the schedule? So the thing is, the weather is improving, and I also have another video coming up Monday with the bit of work sorry, just the start of the building season, the working season on my DIY project, which is the house in the countryside that I am trying to build. Of course, we're working right now on the electrical stuff, but that's going to happen, so look forward to that. And what's going to happen with my schedule with painting the miniatures? I will keep trying to make these, but they may be a bit more sporadic, because it's going to be really difficult for me to dedicate time in the weekends to actually painting. I'm going forward, I'm probably going to be limited to painting only in the evening, and after a long day at the work, and especially with the commute and everything, I might not always be in the mood to paint and do something. I would rather just relax with a show or a movie and do that. But I don't know. I might have some inspiration, so to speak. Right, so what else is there to say other than, yeah, I really hope you stick around for and try something different if you're here just for the miniatures, and have a look and see and how I get my work done around the house. And we're almost done with the electrical wiring, and we're gonna start off with a few more building stuff around there. Regarding the painting, because this is still a painting video and I want to explain something, these models are a bit bigger than the ones that I previously did, but the process is the same. I try to firstly go around all of the edges to make sure that I get them from all of the angles that I want to cover, and then try to fill in the middle with as much paint as possible so that it pools where it needs to, and it handles everything and it behaves the way it should, the paint, and flow where it should. At least that's my usual plan. And of course, mistakes will always happen, and I will accidentally put the color where it's not supposed to be, and then I have to fix it, come back with white just to get back to an acceptable base coat on which I can apply the contrast paint like the Makeup Purple to fix all of my mistakes, and so on and so forth. God forbid should I actually touch by mistake any of the really fleshy athematic, that's going to be very, very hard to fix. But I did find that having a moist, unloaded brush ready to go to whisk off the paint works a lot better than trying to fix it afterwards. And actually, the best thing is to have that loaded brush and then still come in with the white and the Makeup Purple again, just to fix my really visible mistakes, because there might be some lines. Whenever you make a mistake, have you noticed that the paint instantly dries, but when you apply it where it should be, it takes quite a while, and even like 5 minutes afterwards, when you think you can, hey, I can grab the model, it should be fine because the paint should be dry, it's not, and you just whisked away some paint. Yeah, it's not a pleasant sensation, and apparently Murphy's Law applies to absolutely everything. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. I also would apologize because I don't know how much the microphone will catch this, but apparently I forgot to close a window in the kitchen, and there is some noise from the outside, and I don't know whether or not the microphone will catch that. But I'm not getting up to close it because my back still hurts. And moving from this chair is indeed a pain. It's not a big pain, and I am under treatment, but it still is quite a doozy. Let me just tell you, I wouldn't wish this upon anyone. And yeah, fortunately for me, this time I am able to sit down, because the first time I had one of these crises, I was not able to sit in a chair, so it was either lying down or nothing at all, because even walking hurt. Right now I'm at the stage where only walking hurts, so it's not as bad as the first, but I wouldn't recommend this to anyone. So yeah, please take care of your backs, careful with your postures, and don't spend too much time in an office chair. It's really bad for your spine. I learned this the hard way. Alright. I've also handled and covered all of the sub-assemblies, the tiny parts that the claws that are going to come later on and be mounted on the miniatures. These are always kept separate so I can reach on the main body much easier in every nook and cranny, and it also really helps me to hold each of these claws in different positions so I can easily do them. And like I said, do the tiny little margins where you need to be the most careful first, because fatigue is always a factor. So no matter what you're saying, whether you paint for 10 minutes or for 3 hours, the sooner you do the detail and leave the I can make mistakes part to later, it's better like that, because you're always going to be tired, a bit more tired later on. So yeah, taking care of the edges first always is a good idea. Also, it lets you sort of make a big mistake and be a little less precise with your brush strokes. I try to go with this. It's a pretty dark paint, so no matter what, it's going to be dark. But I also try to make it pool in like the binding of the plates, where it would be where would be the most shadows, but also where the chitin would grow from, and it would be like more dark, so to speak, not as worn or anything like that. I was considering doing some edge highlighting on these with a much brighter green, but I really like the way that they look, and I'm not going to change it for anything, because I would have to go back and do the entire army. For me, they look good enough. I'm pretty sure they are completely tournament ready. All of my models, I wouldn't even say that they are basic tabletop. I would probably say that they're tabletop plus. I know they're not master level or anything, but I'm not aiming for that, and I will never aim for that unless maybe, I don't know, I really have some characters that I want to push with, maybe like the Space Marines. I really hope I do a really good job with Bjorn the Fell-Handed, but that's much further down the line, and hopefully my skills will have greatly improved up until that point. I can tell you that in the meantime, in the time that has passed, I have received even more of these lovely little paints from my father, because I really asked him to get me some more, and they are absolutely amazing, because I finally have a very good brush control, and despite the fact that they're really cheap, they're not synthetic. I'm pretty sure they're not like Klinsky or anything like that, but they are good. They are good enough for that price. Let me rephrase that, because they definitely show signs of wear and tear after just like 10 models or anything like that, but they can still be quite useful and usable. So I bought even more, so I should be set for a very long time. But I cannot recommend these enough. These are pretty cool, and at least for me, for my level right now, they are exactly what I need. Well, there are a few more tools and gadgets that I also got, but unfortunately, I don't think I will get to use them for this project, and I'm really starting to see why a lot of people do multiple projects, especially big YouTubers. They go from one project to the next, but I don't like that. I know, but I want to have the finished project before I move on. I know I haven't done the same in the past, but I'm not going to move on, and I'm not going to start a new project, and even though I want to use all those little nifty tools that I got, until I finish these guys. So going forward, all of my focus will be on finishing these, and then moving on to the next one, which unfortunately is probably going to be the remainder of the Tau army, and then finally I will get to the Space Marines. Or not. For the final detail that I painted their eyes red, and these guys have like 3 eyes. I used a quadruple zero brush for these, trying to pay attention to the greatest level of detail that I could and make sure I don't make any mistakes. And then I took a bit of non oil, I believe, no, of Agrax Earthshade. I placed it and mixed it with some of the same Mephiston red that I used for the eyes, just to recess shade all of the eyes basically individually and to make their contrast and make sure they are much more easily visible. And with that, I guess we are coming up to the end of the video. So it is time for me to thank you all for sticking around to the end, and to really hope that if you enjoyed the content, you will subscribe and share it with a friend. Please help my channel grow. I really would like to get to the next step of 500 subscribers, and any help would be greatly appreciated. Thank you again for sticking around to the end and for checking out this video. It has been a pleasure painting it and giving you some updates about what is coming in the channel, and I really hope that I will see you in the next one. Without further ado, I will let you enjoy the final shots, and till next time.